My name's Ed Snowden. I'm 29 years old. I work for Booz Allen Hamilton as an infrastructure analyst for NSA. Any analyst at any time can target anyone, any selector, anywhere. Where those communications will be picked up depends on the range of the sensor networks and the authorities that that analyst is empowered with. Not all analysts have the ability to target everything, but I, sitting at my desk, certainly have the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email.
Welcome to the Savage Nation, and welcome to the death of the Fourth Amendment by Barack Hussein Obama. Not a constitutional lawyer, but a constitutional destruction machine. The phone number here is 855-400-7282. This is the biggest story of your life. You have to understand something. You're living through a tsunami that is running over America from this illegitimate, out-of-control criminal regime that has seized power in the United States of America. The NSA scandal is the biggest scandal of your life. It makes Watergate look like what it was, a green pea inside a tidal wave. Now, the question to you is, because many of you are confused, is this fellow, Edward Snowden, a patriot or a traitor? My point of view, he's a patriot. How does he differ from the other case of a hacker who is now being tried basically by the U.S. Army? You remember his name? There's a big difference. The other guy was trying to undermine the U.S. military. He had no altruistic intent whatsoever. You know who I'm talking about. Don't compare two. It's apples and oranges. That would be like comparing Rubio to George Washington. The fact of the matter is, the NSA whistleblower, Edward Snowden, who is running for his life because he knows he wouldn't last one day in an American prison. He'd either fall out of a window, he would either hang himself in the cell, he'd either swallow a toothbrush or a razor blade, he would choke on a green pea or a carrot. That's why he has disappeared. That's why he's gone. Is he a patriot or a traitor is the question to you, the Savage Nation. If you care to sound off on this important topic, again, the phone number, 855-400-SAVAGE. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I suggest you give up your American citizenship and apply for citizenship either in Syria or Lebanon because you don't belong in America. Who is it who I'm talking about? Why has he disappeared? Who is he running from? Do you think Obama is finished? The contractor who leaked the NSA files has dropped out of sight, and the United States is trying to extradite him either out of Hong Kong or out of China. The fact of the matter is, the reason they want to extradite him is to make sure he's killed. Why do I say that? Why? Didn't you see what appeared on the top of the Drudge Report a little earlier? I guess not. Well, I'll tell it to you. Who overheard them? Someone in the media overheard members of our national security team talking about killing him at an airport. They were doing it in a jocular manner. They were kidding, of course, but they said that he should disappear. And they were doing it. Here it is. No, I can't find that story, by the way, but it was up a little earlier. They said he should disappear. He should be disappeared. And now he's disappeared. Now, I'm not naive. Do I think that this occurred out of the blue? No. Is the timing of the NSA scandal, all of these leaks, rather suspicious? Of course it is. It occurred one day before the premiere of China, the communist dictatorship China, was coming to America. Now, let's put two and two together. The head of China and his wife are coming to America to meet Obama. Obama reluctantly tells him in advance that he's going to have to make a show of asking him about hacking into American computers, meaning China. He's going to have to lecture him in order to hold any of his creds with his liberal base because he can give a rat's behind to the rest of America. His hardcore liberal base demanded that Obama challenge the dictator of China on hacking. So what does the dictator of China do? Well, I don't know. Is he related directly to Snowden in some way? Can't tell, but there seems to me to be some relationship. So the Chinese premier sends Obama a polonium, a piece of polonium sushi, a piece of toxic dim sum is sent back to America the day before, and it's dropped in Obama's lap to say, oh, so you want to put me on the carpet for spying on America? I'll tell you what, I'll put you on the carpet, Obama, for spying on your own citizens, and let the citizens decide which is a bigger dictatorship. That's how I see it. That's number one. But whatever the reasons are, this is a gift, because this gift can save your life. This gift should save America. This gift will save the Fourth Amendment, if not the First Amendment and several other amendments, which I've not studied in detail. He is a hero. He should be winning a Nobel Prize for what he did. But instead he's on the run. Because any hero in the United States of America, any hero who stands up to these despots called Obama and his cronies has to run from America. But where is he running to? That's the question. If he's hiding in China, he's going to be extradited. I doubt very much that they'll hide him. For all I know, he may wind up in Russia. The Russians may take him in just out of spite, to spite Obama. God only knows where this kid's going to run. But this is the kind of American who voted for Obama. Did you hear what he said in his speech? He said, I voted for Obama, and I'm a liberal, but I will not live in a country with a president like this. In fact, I think what you ought to do is listen to his speech, which you're going to hear today throughout the Savage Nation. Is he a patriot or is he a traitor? Now, I know many of you are naive and you're confused, and you say, well, you know, I've got nothing to hide, and therefore I don't care if the government snoops on me. Well, you're not a born free man. You're a slave. You are born to be enslaved. You are born to have a ring in your nose. You're born to be no more than a cow in a field with a bell on your neck. You're not even a sheeple at that point. You're lower than a sheeple. The government has no right to snoop on you. Have you remembered what this country was built upon? It was built on an oppressive British government, King George. A Revolutionary War was fought to kill the British and get them out of America so that we would not have to worry about an oppressive government listening in on us, seizing our mail, reading our mail, because that's what King George's minions did. Any mail that was sent in the colonies was read by British snoops. They read the mail to see if there was any insurrection being planned. So now Obama has become a clear representation of everything bad in the world. Everything evil in the world is now in the lap of Barack Hussein Obama and Eric Holder. The question is, where do we go from here? When we have no opposition party to speak of, when we have a bunch of old corrupt drunks in the Republican Party who are invisible and inaudible at a time they need to be speaking out loudly and forcibly, as loud as I'm speaking, about this threat to our very existence, that drunk Boehner is nowhere to be found. Not one of the Republicans is to be found. And the usual slab of suspects like Dianne Feinstein, one of the most suspicious individuals in the history of the U.S. Senate, a woman whose fortune has quadrupled, if not gone up tenfold, since she has entered the Senate, which unto itself should be unallowed, is supporting spying on Americans. Now, many of you would say, well, we need to stop the terrorists. Really? Did they do just that with the Boston Marathon bombing? How come they weren't spying on Muslims in America? So, in other words, who were they spying on? I said this to you on Friday. I don't need to listen to anybody else's show to know what to say. I said it to you Friday, but you didn't hear it. You're off on vacation. You were barbecuing. Okay, albeit you were barbecuing in a full pair of pants, not in a pair of shorts, because you listened to my show and you're embarrassed to wear shorts. I understand. But still you like barbecued food, so you did it over the weekend. Good for you. That's not the issue. The issue is you missed my show. And as any good teacher, I'm pissed off that you missed my show, because you shouldn't miss even one show, because one show follows the other show. So boys and girls of the Savage Nation, on Friday, here's what I said to you. Or do I need to repeat what I said on Friday? No, I'm not going to repeat what I said on Friday. You missed that particular lesson. It'll be on your final exam. You'll have to catch up on your own. Get the Cliff Notes. In fact, I'll provide the Savage Notes. So I heard the empty skirts on Fox News, and I was more appalled than I've ever been from the lipstick-wearing empty skirts shifting their legs around as one after the other empty skirts said, oh, he's not a patriot. If he was a real patriot, he should have stood here and taken his medicine, as they said inside the safety of the Fox News studio. Shame on all of you empty skirts. You're nothing more than a lipstick with a pair of legs on it. Shame on you. What do you mean he should have stayed here and gotten killed? Are you crazy? I saw jealousy today. All of the empty skirts on Fox News were jealous of this man because he was more of a reporter than they could ever hope to be. But let's go past the empty skirts and empty suits in the media. That's not our problem. The problem here is the fascist dictatorship that's emerged around you because of Barack Hussein Obama and his criminal gang. And make no mistake about it, he needs to be impeached. Holder needs to be fired. The head of the NSA needs to go to prison. And you need to call 855-407-282 to sound off like a real American. Is the NSA whistleblower, Edward Snowden, a patriot or a traitor? I'll be right back.
One of the things that we're going to have to discuss and debate is how are we striking this balance between the need to keep the American people safe and are concerns about privacy. Because there are some trade-offs.
We'll leave it in your hands. We trust you, big brother. We trust you, brother, from another mother. Listen, the Fourth Amendment is very clear, Barry. You went to college. You went to Columbia. You're allegedly a great student of the Constitution, Barry. And the Fourth Amendment is very clear, Mr. Obama. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So go to hell. Go to hell, all of you government snoops. Drop dead. You're not Americans. You're Nazis. You're fascists. You're Stalinists. You're the worst scum on the planet. You should have known better. Do you know how many drug dealers have gotten off from major buys and major peddling because slimy lawyers used the Fourth Amendment saying that you violated the Fourth Amendment, you used an unreasonable search and seizure? You ask narcs how many cases they've broken after killing themselves and seeing their partner shot, thrown into the garbage can because of lawyers who said, well, you didn't have a reasonable ground, you didn't have reasonable grounds for a search, and you seized the cocaine without reasonable grounds. You know, okay, so then the case gets thrown out. You know how many times this has happened? Too many. So now, turn it around, Mr. Liberal Lawyer, and you're telling me that you approve of a government spying on everybody in this country at this time? I disagree with you. This is a crime against America. It's a crime against American values, and moreover, it's a criminal act because it is illegal. First of all, the head of the NSA, whoever it is, goes to jail. That's if we had a Republican Party. It doesn't exist. There is no Republican Party. There's a Democrat, socialist, fascist machine that has grown larger and ever larger under this criminal regime called the Obama regime. And then you have a bunch of drunk contractor suckers on the other side called Republicans waiting for the next war so they could dip their beaks into the contracting dollars. Just remember what happened when your great George Bush was in power. And now speaking to the difference here, because many of you are again being confused because they're obfuscating the Patriot Act under Bush and the Patriot Act under Obama. We had this very same discussion in 2001. We had the very same discussion in 2002 when the Patriot Act was first passed, and I supported it. Why did I support it? I will tell you why, because I carefully studied it. At that time, we were assured by the Bush administration, by, I believe, his then Attorney General, that the only people who would be spied upon would be those who had contact with known terrorists in foreign countries, and it would go through the FISA court. There would be a warrant issued. I said, well, you know, in that case, it makes sense. They should be spying on the Muslims who are calling other Muslims in Pakistan or Afghanistan to plant the bomb in your grandmother's church. I supported it. But now Obama has selectively chosen to spy on Americans. Again, I'll bring it back to what I said on Friday. Here's the question. Since Obama, by his own admission in his Friday mea culpa, which he shouldn't have done, by the way. You notice you haven't heard from him today? They dummied him up. They shut him up. They took him out. He'll be on vacation. He'll be gone. You won't hear from him again on this. His controllers told him shut up because he went off script on Friday. What he said is that we didn't spy on all Americans, only some Americans. Really? So how come they didn't stop the Boston Marathon bombing? Because the Boston Marathon bombing was conducted by Muslims, even though they were Muslims known to associate with terrorists in Chechnya or Dagestan. They were off limits. The government has so perverted everything that they were only spying on others. Muslims were off limits. So you say, well, he didn't want to profile Muslims, so who did he profile? He profiled you. He profiled members of any Patriot movement, any Tea Party movement, any person in talk radio, any person on the internet, any person who dared criticize the great man who cannot take any criticism. I can guarantee you that's who he targeted. Now, what is my proof? My proof is in the negative. The negative proof is that the Boston Marathon bombing happened, and the federal government did nothing to stop it. $1 trillion and 2 billion bullets, and Big Sis, the fascist in charge of DHS, did nothing to stop the bombing. Nothing, because she was looking at you. She was looking at you. She was looking at returning war veterans. She was looking at people who are anti-abortion. She was looking at people who loved America, who waved an American flag. She was looked at people who called television shows or wrote newspapers supporting the Constitution. That's who was on the watch list. She was not looking at people in a mosque because they all come here to worship. They just come here to love America. That's the only reason they come here. That's why they didn't catch the Boston Marathon bombers until after the fact. And they were stopped not by the DHS, not by the FBI. They were stopped by the Boston Police Department, filled with American patriots. The cop on the street is our only hope in this country. But they're not going to be around much longer if this keeps up. The average cop on the street is going to be powerless if this keeps up, because I have studied dictatorships virtually since I'm 18 years old. And I know what happens to police once an all-consuming, overbearing, overpowerful federal police force emerges. And you now have a federal police force in the DHS and the FBI. Those are the federales that we've all feared. The federales have been created in the United States of America while you were worried about gay rights and you were worried about barbecue recipes and you were worried about what you should eat for breakfast. The federales have been established. They're armed to the teeth, and Obama is the one who did it. The phone number here is 855-407-7282. The Fourth Amendment of the Constitution is at stake here. And we have nobody speaking for us that I can see. If you care to comment, again, 855-407-7282, 855-400-SAVAGE. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue. But upon probable cause, Barry, supported by oath or affirmation, Barry, and particularly describing the place to be searched, Barry, and the persons or things to be seized, Barry, where is Michelle Obama? Why did she not meet with the premier of China's wife? Where is she?
Savage.
You know, when I came into this office, I made two commitments that are more important than any commitment I make. Number one, to keep the American people safe.
Ha!
And number two, to uphold the Constitution.
Oh,
and that
yeah,
includes,
right.
What I consider to be a constitutional right to privacy.
You have stamped
and
on
an
it.
observance of civil liberties.
All right, this is the liar-in-chief with his cover-up speech on Friday that was a disaster, an unmitigated disaster. When he got off script, he had no teleprompter, and the more he talked, the deeper his wheels went into the mud. The fact of the matter is, the Espionage Act applies not to Edward Snowden, but to the entire NSA leadership. The entire NSA leadership should be rounded up and arrested and tried under Section 793E of the U.S. Code Title 18. And if you don't know what that is, which I wouldn't expect you to know, go and steal a copy of Trickle-Down Tyranny, pages 58 and 59, or buy a copy of Trickle-Down Tyranny, pages 58 and 59, and you will read that Michael Savage presaged these events, and he said that the Espionage Act, Section 793 of U.S. Code Title 18, would apply in this manner. They violated it. Whoever having unauthorized possession of, access to, or control over any document, writing, code book, signal book, sketch, photograph, photographic negative, blueprint, plan, map, model, instrument, appliance, or note relating to the national defense, or information relating to the national defense, which information the possessor has reason to believe could be used to the injury of the United States or to the advantage of any foreign nation, willfully communicates, delivers, transmits, or causes to be communicated, delivered, or transmitted, or attempts to communicate, deliver, transmit, or cause to be communicated, delivered, or transmitted, the same to any person not entitled to receive it, or willfully retains the same and fails to deliver it to the officer or employee of the United States entitled to receive it. The case is clear-cut enough. This is not a First Amendment case. This is really a Fourth Amendment case. What Snowden did was in line with the greatest acts of the greatest patriots in American history. If we lived in a legitimate government, his face would go on Mount Rushmore, not Obama's face. But Edward Snowden, being the patriot that he is on the run. He's hiding. He was in Hong Kong. He doesn't know where he's going to go to get asylum, where there's no extradition law. We don't know where he's going to end up, if he'll even get that far. I would not be surprised if he's dead before he arrives in another country. He is one of the greatest of American heroes, and he was an Obama voter. He's a 29-year-old young man. He did absolutely the right thing. And again, I have to mention, watching Fox News today, I was very disappointed, but not unexpectedly, in the empty skirts with a lot of red lipstick, who one after the other, these skirts, had the nerve to say, hey, he's no hero. Why? If he was a hero, he would have stayed here and faced the consequences, as they say it inside their studios, their air-conditioned studios. This kid wouldn't have lasted a day in an American prison. Not one day. So, who are we going to turn to? Many of you are frightened right now. You're listening to me, you're saying, why is he railing on like this? He's putting himself in jeopardy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's play Jeopardy together. Let's play Jeopardy together. Let's read Isaiah together. And the idols shall utterly pass away. And babes, and I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them. This is from the Bible. The Bible foresaw an Obama administration. Babes shall rule over them, and the people shall oppress one another, every man his fellow, and every man his neighbor. The child shall behave insolently against the aged, and the base against the honorable. Shall I go on a little bit more? Isaiah, the Bible, as for my people, a babe is their master, and women rule over them. A babe is their master, and women rule over them. Now, who would those women be? Why, it would be Michelle. It would be Valerie Jarrett. And don't you remember who was appointed to be the liaison to the NSA, the National Security Advisor to the NSA? The damaged goods who stood idly by and lied about the killing of an ambassador in Libya. None other than Susan Rice. This occurred a day before Obama got up and tried to justify spying and snooping on patriots in this country. Spying and snooping on patriots in this country, illegally wiretapping you around the clock if he wished. And who did he put into the National Security Advisor's position? None other than damaged goods Susan Rice. He doubled down on her for one reason, so she can't rat him out in a congressional hearing. Now that she's the head of the national security, they call her in. Sorry, can't say it's security. What did you do this? Did you not? Don't know. Security can't talk. Blah, blah, blah. I'll write a book about it in a few years for $4 million. Don't know. Can't say. I'm national security advisor. So she's now unable to testify because he wrapped her up as the NSA. Remember, she's not with the National Security Agency. She's the National Security Advisor. It's two different things. She's actually the liaison to the National Security Agency, which means she has more power over them than they have over their own agency. That's something you don't understand. The National Security Advisor reports to the president. She's a liaison between the president, the executive, and the NSA, the National Security Agency. So what does that mean? She tells them what to do. That's what it means. So now they're insulated from any culpability. They answer again. It all goes back to Barry and Eric. Barry and Eric are now running the country. So a babe is their master and women rule over them. So who are the women? The women are Michelle Obama, Valerie Jarrett, Susan Rice, and a few other women. They're running the country, and a babe is their master, is our master. That's what we have right now. Where are the men? Where are the men of the opposition saying enough is enough, damn it, you're being impeached, we're calling emergency hearings, it's over, Barry, it's over, pack your bag. Where is the opposition party? In any participatory democracy, in any parliamentary system of the type that they have in England or in Israel, they would call for elections as soon as possible, which would be in a week or two, and the Democrat Party would fall, the government would fall. It would be over. They'd be out of office. And the reason they have such a system is precisely because of lowlifes like this running the country in this manner, as though running roughshod over our Constitution, running roughshod over our economy, running roughshod over our allies, treating our enemies as friends and our friends as enemies. Let me not go down the litany. That's why we have a corrupt, rotten system. But there should be an election. We don't have a parliamentary system. What we do have, allegedly, is a two-party system. Where is the other party? Name one person from the other party who's as angry as I am. Name one. Show me one member of the Republican Party who has stood up since this happened and screamed from a rooftop, enough is enough. We want you impeached. We want you out of there. We want Holder resigning, and we want you impeached. Where is the opposition party? Nowhere. So a few still voices are heard. My small show is heard by only a few people on 200 stations. And the pebble is thrown into the pond. Where it will go, I don't know. I have no idea how far any of this complaining will get us, because it's been already thrown off CNN. They're covering the Trayvon Martin case. Shame on Wolf Blitzer. Wolf Blitzer's the lowest of the low. He's a salenterate. I don't, again, have to go down the list and litany. You know, Friday night after the show, I have to tell you what I overheard, because it epitomized to me the danger that we're in. I went to some takeout Indian place, even though I'd eaten lunch in an Indian place, because I like Indian spice. It was a takeout slop joint near San Francisco somewhere, but I like it. I know the owners. And it's filled with liberals. It's a beautiful seafront town. Liberal Central. Oh, my goodness. So the movie theater empties out, and I'm sitting outside eating my curry. And two couples go by, I would say late 50s, early 60s, white hair, the good liberal type of the San Francisco area. You all know them. Self-assured, comfortably successful, full of themselves with comfort and knowledge that they're in charge. I swear as God is my witness, I sat there with Teddy. They didn't know who I am, of course. I'm anonymous. One says to the other, oh, by the way, when you go home, Ralph, be sure to catch Obama's speech today about this thing. It was so wonderful. I said, I can't believe what I'm listening to, but I know that what I just heard is how they think. There is nothing this man can do that they would disapprove of. This is the classic guilty white liberal that has destroyed America. This is the classic white liberal that's given us everything evil in this country. And that is why I am not that optimistic that this will lead to the expulsion of Eric from the Justice Department and impeachment hearings to get to the bottom of this spying. But that's what I heard. And you know that they're not alone. You know that they speak for millions of like-minded, useful idiots, as Mr. Lennon declared. 855-400-7282. It's the Savage Nation. Let's take some calls. Let's start with WABC in New York. Marty, go ahead. You're on the Savage Nation.
Hey, Dr. Savage. Big fan. I think this is a non-issue, and I think I don't want to make this personal, but paranoia from conservatives like Hannity. The bottom line is Obama did nothing wrong. It's just a natural progression from the Bush Patriot Act.
Oh, here, I know. Blame it on Nixon. Nixon can be blamed, too. Because Nixon may have not have passed the Patriot Act, but he wanted to, right?
He did not listen to any content, all right? And
listen, sir, you're wrong. You're factually wrong. I told you, and everyone listening to this show, that when the Patriot Act was first passed, we had this debate on this show in 2002, and then again in 2003, whenever it was renewed. And I supported it because I know that the FISA court was very severe, and I also know that the Patriot Act was only used at that time to snoop upon Americans who were talking to suspicious individuals in overseas countries. It was never used on American citizens. I know that for a fact. So how could you say, and this is part of the doublespeak that the Democrats are putting out into the media to try to blame it on Bush and say they all did it. No, it's not a non-issue. You're probably not from America. You sound like you're from Israel, aren't you?
No, I'm not from Israel. I'm the same place you're from.
Good. Okay, then you're from the Bronx, New York. Then if you're from the Bronx, then you know how to give a Bronx cheer, don't you? You should be giving the same outrage that I am. You shouldn't be justifying spying on Americans. How can you as an American say you want a government snoop to be listening into your phone calls and reading your emails? How can you approve of that?
I don't like being snooped on 100% with Edward Snowden and what you're saying right now. But the fact is that you're all jumping on this issue right now just because you don't like Obama. You don't trust Obama. So stop being a...
Oh, you mean that's the only reason? That's the only reason. It's not because he actually did something that's evil and unconstitutional.
He did nothing. He did nothing.
So in other words, is it racism as well? Is it because I'm a racist that I'm criticizing Obama? Is that it?
No.
Well, why did you pull out the race card as well? Well, you call us paranoid. Now call us racist. Go for the throat. Use the card you've used all your life to support illegitimate liberal activities. Thank you for the call. You're wrong. You lose. Bung. No, you didn't make your argument. What do you mean it's nothing? The whole world is talking about it, except you. Here's the next part of this conundrum. You want to hear it? Where did this news break? In England. Where's our American press? Doesn't exist. There is no American press. We have no journalism. No, I've called them stenographers. I wrote about it. Everyone's using the word stenographers. There is no American press. The stories broke out of England, right? Europe is in turmoil over this. Look at the European newspapers. They cannot believe that this is going on in a free nation. Europe used to look to America as the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty has been raped by Barack Obama. She is raped and bleeding in the gutter. I'll be right back.
Join the...
I came in with a healthy skepticism about these programs. My team evaluated them. We scrubbed them thoroughly. We actually expanded some of the oversight.
I could be, rendered by the CIA. I could have people come after me, or any of their third-party partners. They work closely with a number of other nations. Or they could pay off the triads, or any of their agents or assets. We've got a CIA station just up the road in the consulate here in Hong Kong, and I'm sure they're going to be very busy for the next week. And that's a fear I'll live under for the rest of my life, however long that happens to be.
You hear this? How could anyone doubt this man is a real patriot? He's George Washington of our time. What do you think, he had to come back with a white wig on and cross the Trenton River? Here he is. Every once in a while, a George Washington appears. There he is. He risked his life so that America might wake up. The Statue of Liberty has been raped by the Obama administration. She is raped and disheveled in the gutter. Florida, WFTL. John, your opinion. You're on the Savage Nation.
Hey, good evening, Doctor. This is a situation that's near and dear to my heart. I was in the military, and I served under the NSA from 2001 to 2004. And during my time in service, one of the things that was a primary focus of our work is not to usurp the Americans' right to privacy. We would never, under any circumstance, unless we had a warrant and went through a foreign court, we would never...
Hold on. So you're confirming what I said to several callers, that they're trying to obfuscate that Bush did it's the same as Bush. It's not the same. I know that the FISA court was very strict in those days, and they never spied on Americans. They spied on Americans who were communicating with foreigners who were known to be associated with terrorists. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely not.
Right. So there was a brick wall, a steel wall between spying on innocent Americans with the Patriot Act under Bush. Obama took down the wall the same way he took down the border, the same way he's taken down our privacy. He has made us very unsafe from this government.
You're absolutely correct. This man is a red-blooded patriot, and I'll be telling you what, Dr. Savage, it's the patriots in this military that will not turn on their fellow Americans and will not usurp their right to privacy that's going to be the savior of this country.
Well, I don't know. I'm afraid that I have studied authoritarian regimes ever since I've been 18 years old. And although there were patriots, they also wound up in the internment camps. Anyone who stood up to this overbearing fascist government that emerged in Germany, whether they were police in little provinces of Germany, they didn't last too long. Those police went into the same concentration camps along with the other political dissidents. So I'm not that optimistic that we have the backbone necessary to stand up to this illegitimi.
Dr. Savage, this is a proved check in the system. Mr. Obama does not respect our Constitution, and a patriot stood out.
That's right. All of the far left studied the... I met them, by the way, in my travels through my life, as Mr. Steppenwolf himself. I met liberals who studied constitutional law. They were lawyers, never practiced law, but they were experts in the Constitution. The only reason they were experts in the Constitution was to try to modify it or subvert it. That's why he was a constitutional lawyer. It was not to uphold the Constitution. It was to get around it or destroy it. That's what he studied in his years in the university. Listen, I know what I'm talking about here. I've been around the block. I know exactly what this administration is. I've been trying to warn America. I've been trying to sound the bell. I've been the Paul Revere of my time, and I'm not exhausted yet. I'm just catching my second wind. And I will tell you something else. This is a defining moment in American history. This kid is a patriot. Anyone who doesn't see that doesn't belong in this country. They don't move to Syria. What's amazing to me is I listened to Fox News and saw the empty skirts saying he was not a patriot, he was a coward, he shouldn't have run away. Shame on you, you red lipstick wearing whatever. You know who I wound up agreeing with? They have a Democrat there who I normally never agree with. He was the only one who saw it right. He was an old-line liberal Democrat who really understood the First and Fourth Amendments. These chicks at Fox don't even know what the Constitution is. They're just showgirls. They may as well be in Las Vegas hoofing it with a pair of high heels. Get the can-can music, Rupert. Don't do that bullseye zzz, breaking news. Get some can-can music for your girls and have them get frilly underwear. That's all you got on that network anymore. And you can get a pair for O'Reilly and Hannity at the same time. Yeah, I like to be burlesque every once in a while. It relieves my tension. If you don't like it, it's too bad. This is not a history lesson. This is a radio show. Is he a patriot or is he a traitor? Who am I talking about? If you don't know who I'm referring to, then go home and smoke your whatever. Wait for your check from the government and make sure you vote Democrat in the next election. Because as sure as I'm sitting here, the largest percentage of boozers and dopers in this country do not even know what I'm talking about. So I'm addressing it to you. Is this young man the patriot I say he is, or a traitor? Clearly, he is George Washington. He is the George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson of our time. He is everything good and great about America. He is everything decent and brave about America.
There are a whole range of safeguards involved. And federal judges are overseeing the entire program throughout.
I feel
We've also
better,
set up
Barry.
an audit process when I came into office to make sure that we're, after the fact, making absolutely certain that all the safeguards are being properly observed.
Really? How come you... Wait, stop the music. So how come you didn't catch the marathon bombers, the Sarnoff brothers? Because you weren't looking at Muslims. You were only looking at patriots. Your mind is so warped. You so hate Americans who love America that you turned your entire bureaucracy against the American citizen. And Edward Snowden is a giant. And you, my friend, are a Lilliputian compared to him. As I sit here on the Savage Nation, as I'm watching this unfold, this poor kid is on the run and he's hiding. And the rats at CNN are running a hit piece on him. They're trying to destroy his reputation, take him apart, make him into a bad guy. But what would you expect from liberals? They take patriots and turn them into traitors. They take traitors and turn them into patriots. So I will ask you, is the NSA whistleblower who is now running for his life, Edward Snowden, a patriot or a traitor? In my opinion, he's clearly a patriot. He has nothing to gain from this. And anyone who doesn't see this sees nothing. But I'll go to the callers on the Savage Nation. What is he gaining by this? He's running for his life. He's afraid of being killed. He probably can't come home. So how could you say that he's not done the right thing? He's exposed the government for spying on innocent Americans and looking askance at Muslims who are planning and plotting to bomb us, as in the case of the Sarnoff brothers, because Obama does not profile Muslims, but he profiles patriots. I'll repeat again what I said last Friday, in case you missed the show. Do you remember right after the Boston Marathon bombing, which was not too long ago, what occurred before they caught the Sarnoff brothers? Do you remember the interview with Eric Holder? He said that the president, meaning Obama, tends to think that the perpetrators are tax protesters. These people have twisted everything. They have perverted everything. They have turned patriots into traitors. That's who they're spying on. Make no mistake about it, this is a seminal moment in American history. You're in the midst of one of the most important stories, if not the most important story you're ever going to hear in your lifetime. And there's only one satisfactory outcome. And that outcome is impeachment of Obama and the resignation of Holder. But the problem is we have no opposition party. If we had an opposition party, there'd be outrage. They'd be standing up and giving speeches. They'd have an all-night session. They'd be filibustering, demanding Holder's resignation, demanding that Eric Clapper of the NSA be put in prison for what he's done for violating the Fourth Amendment rights of millions of Americans. You don't hear one word from Boehner. Where is he? He's non-existent. Doesn't exist. It's a fiction. All you have is Dianne Feinstein, which is so ironic it's beyond belief, supporting this spying. Really, what would you give to read Dianne Feinstein and Richard Blum's emails? What would you give to see the emails that Dianne Feinstein has received and written over her tenure as a senator. Oh, what you would give. That would be some best-selling book, wouldn't it? So we go back to the question at hand. And, of course, I've given you my answer. And if you care to sound off, the phone number is 855-407-282. There are a few other stories I want to touch on that you shouldn't miss today. Rubio, speaking in Spanish in a Spanish-language show, confirmed that I suspect what he is and always knew what he was after I got to know him, meaning seeing what he was. In a speech in a Spanish-language interview on Univision Sunday, the fork-tongued Rubio, the ice cream man, said in immigration reform, legalization comes first, not securing the border. This is the exact opposite of what this low-life liar has been saying in English. And yet, it doesn't stop Rush and his Lilliputian followers from supporting Rubio. It didn't stop Rush, nor Hannity, nor the other little people, the other Lilliputians from supporting Rubio. I've been warning you about Rubio. He's a double talker. He's a front man. Legalization, he said, comes first, not the border. You hear this? So this is what's going on. I personally believe that Obama's agenda is derailed forever. And for the sake of the nation, he should resign. The only thing that can save this country is for the elders of the tribe, meaning the elders of the Democrat Party itself, if there are any. Are there any true liberals left? I don't know. The real liberals who used to say, I may not like what you say, but I would defend the right, your right to I would defend with my life your right to say it. They didn't come to my aid when I was banned in Britain, but maybe they'll come to the aid of Mr. Snowden now that his life is in danger from these cyborgs inside the national government. Maybe they will come to his aid, and maybe they'll come to their senses and tell Obama he has to resign. Maybe they'll force him out. It can happen, you know. It can happen. A party can move a man out. It can happen. It's happened in other countries. Of course, it was in different times. I don't think you know the history of England, but after a certain man came back from Germany, again, to go back to a seminal moment in history, rather, and he came back and he said, Neville Chamberlain said, peace is at hand. I have in my hand a piece of paper from Chancellor Hitler saying that the Anglo-German alliance is as strong as ever. Yay, yay, yay. There will never be war between us. Well, I think the next week Germany invaded Poland. What's the point of the story? His own Labor Party threw him out. They forced him out of office. He didn't resign on his own. Politicians are different than you and I. They're egomaniacs. They have no sense of decency, most of them. But his own Labor Party threw him out for the safety of England. And that's when Winston Churchill came into power. Now, of course, those were different times. There was more honor in government. And we have no Winston Churchill. We have no opposition party whatsoever. We've had an oligarchy and a single party government for at least 20 years, if not longer. But let's not quibble over how long we've had this oligarchy. We have to keep the pressure up. You have to call people. You have to demand this. You have to call your Democrat friends and shake them and wake them up and make them understand that spying on innocent Americans is as bad as it gets. Because the next step from spying on Americans is rounding up Americans in black cars. The step after spying on innocent Americans is sending out black cars with plainclothesmen who take people off the streets who disappear, as in Argentina and every other dictatorship that we have witnessed in our lifetime. Let me take some calls. KSFO in San Francisco. Ted, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead from San Francisco on KSFO.
Yes, I would say that he is a patriot, and I would actually go a little further and say he's probably will go down as being a hero. Well, he is a hero, but already CNN is trying to smear him. Yeah,
the degenerates on CNN who supported the fascist uprising in Egypt and called it an Arab Spring when I knew it was an Arab winter. Those very same fascists are trying to destroy this young man.
So he's a hero. He's a patriot. And I'm sitting here looking at Boehner and wondering why he isn't in front of any camera that would stand still long enough for him to start to initiate impeachment proceedings.
He could do it right now. The Republican Party has an obligation to initiate impeachment hearings because at least then we'll get to the bottom of how far this goes. I don't think this is the end of it, Ted. Do you think this is the extent of the government's evil? The government's evil?
Look, Michael, you hit on this on Friday, and you talked about incrementalism. And we have been under 50, 60 years of, it's like what Obama said on Friday. This is a minor infraction. But you know what? It's an infraction of the Constitution, minor or serious.
Right. He violated at least the Fourth Amendment, if not others. It's a minor invasion. But what would have happened if his emails had been hacked? What if America could see Obama and Michelle's emails? Do they have any emails? Do they send emails? Or about let's have a clear government here. Let's see all of Valerie Jarrett's emails. Let's see Hillary Clinton's emails. Let's see all of their emails since they've been looking at ours. Thanks for the call, Ted. KSFO, we're getting loads of calls out of San Francisco right now. Let's go across the country right now to WABC. George, you're on the Savage Nation. Your opinion counts. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good evening. I would believe that Patrick Henry and Thomas Paine would embrace Mr. Snowden as a true American patriot. Number one.
Yes, that's very well put. That's right. That's right. They would see him as a great, great American.
And number two, the spying that's going on right now is of no shock to me because I had the FBI look me up one time when I mailed away for reference material for a term paper. And the kicker is, I was only 14 years old.
Oh, my God. Yep. Well, we'll let that one hang in the air. Where is the FBI director today? Why is he not speaking out? Why is the director of the FBI not going before the American people and calming them? Where is he? Where is the big sis, the bullet girl? The bullet maven? Where's the big girl who can't get enough bullets? Like the Nowhere Man who put his snout down in the Beatles movie and sucked his own foot back into the horn. How many bullets does this woman need? She didn't fire a shot, nor none of her agents fired a shot during the Boston Marathon bombing. Where are all those bullets? What are they going to be used for? This is what I'm trying to tell you. Watch out, people. I'm warning you. If a government will spy on innocent Americans, and they've been accruing billions of bullets, hollow point 9mm rounds, and they've been buying urban assault vehicles with large rubber tires and turrets in them, which is a fact of reality. This is not a conspiracy show. What are they getting ready for? What's the next step? Well, I'll let you figure it out. Go watch the movie Z. Go watch the movie Z. You'll see what's coming. It's the Savage Nation. I'll be right back.
This program, by the way, is fully overseen not just by Congress, but by the FISA court, a court specially
big deal.
Put together to evaluate.
Yeah, who's on the FISA court? Your stooges. FISA court, you hear? Welcome to the Savage Nation. This is the biggest scandal of your life. The reason you don't know it is because you don't know it. So I've given you an overview of what I believe. He's clearly a patriot. He's got nothing to gain. He's on the run. He has to hide. He's afraid they're going to kill him, which undermines all your arguments that he did it for self-aggrandizement. And he differs from Julian Assange in the most fundamental way. Julian Assange did it to undermine the U.S. military, while Edward Snowden did this in order to save Americans from being spied upon. Two different things. He's a great patriot, period. FDM, WFDM, Tom, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Oh, Michael?
Yes, you're on the radio. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I wanted to talk to you about this NSA deal. And why.
That's right. So what is it you want to say? Of course you want to talk about it. What's on your mind? Please, sir.
Okay, well, I believe that Obama's setting up a shadow government. That's why they have these private emails with aliases and all this other stuff thrown out there to keep everybody.
But Tom, don't you understand there's no need for a shadow government? He is the shadow government. The shadow government consists of him, Eric Holder, Michelle Obama, a few other people from Chicago. That's the shadow government. There's no mystery about it. There's no checks and balances anymore. Thanks for the call. Shadow government. It sounds mysterious. What's so mysterious about it? There's no shadow government. It's him and three women are doing it. KSFO, Rob, you're next up. Go ahead, please. What's on your mind?
Bottom line is, this man is a patriot, and it's refreshing to see somebody with some guts to stand up for what's right once in this nation.
Yes, and this is a turning point, because if we let CNN and the rest of the media, including Fox News, take him down by diminishing his act of courage and by destroying his reputation, all is lost. This is the moment to expose these people for who they are. Next caller. WABC, Johnny, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Yes. When the wicked rise, men hide themselves. Or hiding. But my point is, I don't think this man is a traitor or a patriot. I think he's an operative for international socialism, and he's fled to Hong Kong, which I think...
Wait, you're mixing apples with oranges here. Do you know what he actually did?
What?
Johnny, you're mixing apples with oranges. You said 5 different things in your statement. What did Edward Snowden actually do?
You tell me.
Oh, no, I'm not going to tell you. Don't play games with me. You don't even know what he did. But you're already calling he's a socialist operative because you heard it somewhere in a liberal publication. So already you're repeating words, but you don't even know what Edward Snowden released, do you? What did he release? What did he leak?
Oh, please. Being mad at Obama is like being mad at...
Get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just another bootlicker. Another bootlicker, Obama servitude. That's all you are. You're on his plantation. You're on Obama's plantation. You got a ring in your nose. You know wiser than a bull walking around on a farm. Operative of socialism. I knew I'd catch him. Tell me exactly what Edward Snowden released. You tell me. Suddenly he's a Talmudic scholar. Suddenly he's a Talmudic scholar. I didn't know what he was talking about. He got caught. I should tell him his job. KSFO, Lisa, you're on the Savage Nation. What's on your mind? Your opinion, please. Traitor or patriot?
He's definitely a patriot, Michael. He has exposed the traitor.
Okay, so for the edification of the bootlickers of Obama out there, what did he actually do?
He came forward and he said that the Obama administration has been spying on Americans, which is totally against our Fourth Amendment. You know, a lot of people don't even know what the Fourth Amendment is. My daughter, who's in...
A lot of people, they don't know what the First Amendment is. They have no idea we have freedom of speech in America. They like to see me arrested for having a radio show.
Right.
In fact, one of the phonies in the media, a former lawyer in the Reagan administration who worked for a low-life Justice Department official, went on the air when I was banned in England and said, good, I'm glad they banned him. And he paints himself every day as a constitutionalist. He can go to hell. This is a seminal moment in American history. Which side are you on? Are you on the side of fascism, Obama, or Edward Snowden, a patriot? Make no mistake about it. You could have been spied upon. Oh, you got nothing to hide?
You can't come forward against the world's most powerful intelligence agencies and be completely free from risk, because they're such powerful adversaries that no one can meaningfully oppose them. If they want to get you, they'll get you in time. But at the same time, you have to make a determination about what it is that's important to you. And if living unfreely but comfortably is something you're willing to accept, and I think many of us are, it's the human nature. You can get up every day, you can go to work, you can collect your large paycheck for relatively little work against the public interest, and go to sleep at night after watching your shows.
Yeah, they're on drugs. How many people inside the Obama administration are medicated? What % of Congress is on antidepressants and alcohol, if not marijuana? I don't know. You have to be drug tested if you take a job. You have to pee in a cup. I'd like to start by having everybody inside the NSA pee in a cup. Ron on WABC, you're next up. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Michael, I consider him a patriot in the truest sense of the word. Let's look at the facts. He lost everything that you materially or personally can lose and gained nothing. And all he did is enlighten the American people about something going on pertaining to their privacy that they had no clue about.
Right.
So this is,
and then you'll notice that the Congressional Black Caucus is attacking him. The very same Congressional Black Caucus that should stand for freedom, that attacked the Tea Party, is now attacking this young man. Do you see which side of reality they're on?
Yes.
I know. And the same Black Caucus that attacked Richard Nixon for far, far less in the 1970s. And also, in addition to them, there are idiots.
And the Congressional Black Caucus is not the Congressional Black Caucus of your father. Let me tell you. It's a wholly different organization.
That's for sure. And we also have the idiot here in New York, Peter King, from the U.S.
Oh, God, don't tell me Peter King came out against this kid, did he?
He said the man should be tried as a criminal. And
Peter King should be tried as a criminal. Peter King is a double-talking liar. Peter King doesn't have the guts to come on the Savage Nation. Peter King only goes on Hey Abbott's show. He goes on Lou Costello's show. He will not come on this show. He's always turned us down. And I'll give you a list of other people who pretend to be on the side of right when they're really on the side of wrong.
Michael,
Peter King's a fraud.
Idiot.
He actually said that? This kid should go to jail?
Yes, he wants him to be tried, yes, as a criminal. And Lindsey Graham said the same thing.
Well, Lindsey Graham is a double-talking, two-faced phony from the get-go. Lindsey Graham's in favor of amnesty for all and no border security. Lindsey Graham is a sellout. We know that. Lindsey Graham is a Hessian. He'll go with whichever side pays him more, in my estimation. But I didn't think Peter King was that bad. I mean, I always trusted Peter King up to a point. I knew he was a bit of a politician. I had no idea he was that sold out. Thanks for the call. So that's the question to you, the audience. 855-400-7282 is the Savage Nation. We're only talking about this, nothing else. I will not discuss any other topic. This is the most important topic in your lifetime. He's disappeared. He's hiding. He's afraid he's going to be killed. He's afraid he's going to be killed by your government. Yeah, that's right. Now listen to who's against him. None other than the Queen of Diamonds, Dianne Feinstein, in clip 10. Listen to this. Neil, 10.
Balance is a difficult thing to actually identify what it is, but I can tell you this.
Oh, shut up. What do you mean balance is difficult? Stop it. Stop it. Shut her up. Balance is a difficult thing to actually identify what it is? No, it isn't, Diane. Either you understand what the U.S. Constitution is or you don't. And obviously, you haven't released your emails. Why don't you and your husband, Richard Blum, release the emails over the last 10 years and explain how your fortune went up so greatly while you've been in Congress? Then we'll understand where the balance actually is. See, you like snooping on everybody. You like getting inveigling your way in to become chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee? How in the world, in a rational nation, could this happen? My dog is staring at me. He can't believe what I'm saying. She's the most powerful member of the U.S. Senate. And she's telling us she doesn't know where balance lies with regard to spying on innocent Americans and letting the guilty go free. Where was she when the Tsarnaev brothers were running back and forth to Chechnya? Nowhere. Counting her shekels, no doubt. Counting the sale of the U.S. Postal Service buildings that her husband got the exclusive. Did you hear about that? You didn't hear about that? See the emails on that. How did Dianne Feinstein's husband, Richard Blum, get the exclusive contract to sell U.S. postal buildings with a no-bid contract? How did he get that? No relationship to his wife, of course. No. She doesn't know where the balance lies. Hey, let me tell you something. A child in the 8th grade who has a reasonable IQ knows where the balance lies. You don't spy on innocent Americans. Period. End of story. WABC, Dennis, you're next up. Go ahead, please. You're on the Savage Nation, 200 stations and growing.
Welcome, Michael. Thank you very much. Say this guy is nothing but a patriot. But I want to tell you, we are in such deep trouble. When you get like Sheriff Arpaio and all the people that's got facts about this Obama, and you can't get a court system, you can't get a judge, you can't get a congressman, can't get a senator to even investigate to see if it's true about our highest office of the country, we're in trouble, sir.
Well, I understand we're in trouble, but I predicted for the last few months that Obama was going to make a gigantic mistake and it would bring down the administration. Now, he didn't make the mistake, but this young man came forward as a patriot and put his life on the line. Will it bring down the Obama administration? Yes, if we had a legitimate two-party system with a vigorous debate and a vigorous difference. That's where the rub lies. There is no two-party system. It's a one-party oligarchy. Whoever controls this country has to understand there is a second party. That party is called the Tea Party. That party is called the American people. They're not going to stand for this. This could lead to an armed revolution. I hope it doesn't. This could lead to an armed revolution, but it should not. I'm warning all of you out there with your guns and your ammo and your 50 calibers and your drum magazines. This is just what this despot wants. Don't fall into Obama's trap. He wants you to do something crazy. He wants you to make some feeble attempt at bringing justice to this country. Don't do it. If you take the law into your own hands with a group of other people, all you're going to do is bring about martial law, which is just what this man wants. It's exactly what will keep him in office for life. I warn you. I warn you. Pull your horns in. No, speak out as loudly as you can. Shake people up in a supermarket. Don't let them get away with telling you it's nothing. Talk through their blandness. Make them listen to you. It's a violation of your constitutional rights. Nothing less, and Obama is a new despot. That's all you got to do. Keep saying it. The word will spread. And I'll tell you something else. If we ever get to the midterm elections, the Democrat Party is finished. Because this is not about the welfare recipients. This is not about the sycophants. This is not about the government workers. This is not those on government assistance in any way. This is only about the large 30 percentile of voters who are independents. They are the people who are moving against Obama. They are the people who will vote for anyone but a Democrat. The midterm elections, if we ever get there, will be a groundswell of opposition against this liberal fascist dictatorship, in my estimation. Kevin in New York City on WABC again. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think this Snowden should be hunted down like the filthy dog he is and put up against a wall and shot for being a traitor.
Well, what did he do that was traitorous, Kevin?
He broke the oath when he became a member of the NSA. He took an oath to say he would keep the secrets of the state, and he did exactly.
So, in other words, the people who stood up to the Nazi government were traitors. They should be shot. So you agree with Hitler?
No, this man...
Well, that's what you're saying. He didn't follow orders. He actually didn't follow orders, so you're saying he should be shot for not following the Fuhrer.
We don't have...
You're actually saying that all those who stood up against Hitler were traitors. That's what you just said.
No, that isn't what I said.
Get out of here. Take a walk. Go back to the subway where you were born. You're probably born under the third rail with that brain of yours. Listen to me. You have any idea how sick these people are saying he's a traitor who should be shot? So that means all of the plots against the dictatorship in any country, they're traitors because they stood up to a dictatorship. Name them. Name all of those who stood up to the dictators. You don't know who they are. They're gone. So now Snowden will be executed because the liberals want him gone. They want him dead. They want to live in their humdrum world where Obama is God. Obama is king and there's a one-party system. It ain't happening. It's not going to happen. Snowden is a patriot. The last thing they want is Snowden to die. If Snowden dies, that's the end of this country. If Snowden dies in a jail cell from swallowing a toothbrush, choking on a green pea, falling out of a window, jumping out of a car, taking him to court, this country will turn into an unarmed camp. We'll have Syria in this country. It's the worst nightmare that could ever happen. This man is a patriot who should be brought to Washington on a white horse. I'll be right back. So the fool who called me in the last segment has no idea what he was actually saying. He was saying that if a government worker sees something wrong going on and he alerts the public as a whistleblower should, he's a traitor who should be shot. Isn't that interesting? So that'd be like an FDA employee who says, we're going to work with a manufacturer who we know is poisoning, let's say, a baby formula. They have a toxin in it. And we've known it for years, but we don't want to release it because we're in cahoots with the baby formula manufacturer. And a guy comes out from the FDA and says, I can no longer live with my conscience. The FDA knew that they were poisoning the baby formula and did nothing about it. In fact, they helped them, blah, blah, blah. So that guy should also be rounded up and shot. That's what that idiot just said in the last hour. But I'll go a step further. Here is his master. Here is his master, Barack Obama, when he was a candidate in 2007. I want you to listen to the words of Obama when he railed against monitoring or spying on citizens who did nothing wrong. Listen to 14.
This administration also puts forward a false choice between the liberties we cherish and the security we provide. I will provide our intelligence and law enforcement agencies with the tools they need to track and take out the terrorists without undermining our Constitution and our freedom. That means no more illegal wiretapping of American citizens. No more national security letters to spy on citizens who are not suspected of a crime. No more tracking citizens who do nothing more than protest a misguided war.
Now, that was candidate Obama. Now that he became absolute, look, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Lord Acton said that, I think, quite a while ago. Power corrupts, and absolute power has absolutely corrupted Obama. Listen to clip 15.
No more ignoring the law when it is inconvenient. That is not who we are.
Oh.
And it's not what is necessary to defeat the terrorists. The FISA court works. The separation of powers works. Our Constitution works. We will again set an example for the world that the law is not subject to the whims of stubborn rulers and that justice is not arbitrary.
Then why did you spy on patriots and ignore radical Islamists, Mr. President? Can you explain that? You spied on innocent Americans. Your own Attorney General, right after the Boston Marathon bombing, said that you suspect it was tax protesters who were responsible for that bombing. The last people on your mind or on your radar, because you have reverse profiled, were the Muslims who did it. You are a clear and present danger to our very democracy. You have become the most dangerous man in this country. You are the man we have been all warned about, and you are now here and you're ensconced in power. And you are so powerful that all of us fear you. But it doesn't mean that all is lost. If this one young man, 29 years of age, who voted for you, can say enough is enough and out you with regard to your spying, then others will come forward. We need a floodgate of people in every agency in this country. The remnants of Americans in the FBI, the CIA, the NSA itself must come forward, and they all must say, we are all Mr. Snowden. They should print T-shirts and say, we are all Snowden. There must be 1 million people and 10 million people and 20 million people say we are all Snowden. Just as the Dutch, when they were taken over by the Nazis, came out with, and the Nazis put armbands with the Star of David on Jews before they rounded them up. The Dutch put armbands, the Christian Dutch, the atheist Dutch, the non-Jewish Dutch. They all wore armbands so the Nazis could not distinguish the Jews as readily. We need the government workers who are still Americans to wear Snowden as an armband. 29-year-old American hero. The man should run for the presidency. The man should run for the presidency for what he did, not be lined up and shot on a wall. Jose in Florida is from the ex-dictatorship of Argentina. He knows what I'm talking about. Jose, did he hang up because he was a great caller? Jose in Florida, welcome to the Savage Nation. Your opinion, please. Go ahead.
I cannot believe I'm standing in the United States of America going through this again, and make no.
You lived in Argentina under the generals, and this is how it started. Is this what happened?
Well, it was a little. There was already civil unrest there, and by the time they took over. But I will tell you one story because you talked about people standing up. My grandfather was a constable in one of the little towns outside of Buenos Aires, and he had a woman come see him because her son had disappeared. And when he was on his way to his office to try and find out what had happened to this kid, 2 patrolmen stopped him and told him, don't go in there, don't ask about it, these are bad guys.
So in other words, he was warned not to look into the disappeared patriot, because or else they would have taken your grandfather out.
Because then it would have been his butt on his leg.
Right. Well, that's exactly how a dictatorship functions, through terror and fear. That's what a terrorist state is. It's where they turn one citizen against another. So this is a very bad precedent. It's a very bad step. And, of course, you've got the loyalists to Obama who are supporting it. Either they're ignorant or they're just fools, but they have no idea how dangerous this is. It's the first step to the road that you are discussing.
Only the last lamb to be led to the lion. That's all they are. It's just a matter of priority. Certain people will go first and certain people will go later, but they will all go.
Well, let me ask you this, speaking from the heart as you are and from the reality that you come from the ex-dictatorship of Argentina, how many years have you been in America?
I got here in 1981. I never thought this would be happening in this country. I became an American because how much I love this country, and I want to puke.
Do you think there's any turning back from this? Do you think that he will be stopped?
I hope. I don't.
You hope. Right. Well, it's a good answer, because if we had a loyal opposition, this would be over. There would be around the clock hearings. Baden would put down the Scotch bottle, He'd throw away his Prozac, and he would start hearings immediately into impeachment. He would demand the resignation of Holder. It should have happened already. My friend, let me send you a copy of my novel, A Time for War. It's the only gift I think is worthy of giving to a caller like yourself, because there's another mystery involved here. And I touched on it at the beginning of the show. I may as well touch on it at the end of the second hour of the show before the third hour begins. The timing. The timing of the release of this blockbuster expose of spying on ordinary Americans by Obama and his minions inside the NSA. When did it happen? It happened one day before the communist dictator arrived in America. Something else happened, and that is Michelle Obama refused to meet with the leader of China and his wife. She was not available. I've never heard of this. Now, what is that about? Has anyone thought about that at all? The First Lady does not meet with the First Lady of China and the leader of China? What is that about? Why would she insult them? Why would she avoid them? Because she was angry at them. And what she was saying to them is, okay, so you were coming here, and we agreed that we'd put on a show trial of us asking you about hacking and spying in China because we have to do it for the nuts in America, who demand that we care about what goes on in your country, like harvesting organs from political enemies or hacking, into our Defense Department. We don't really care what you do, but we have to make believe we do. So we're going to make that part of the speech. So the premier of China thinks, okay, that's what you're going to do to me when I get there? You're going to embarrass me? Let me tell you who you are, Obama. And bingo, suddenly this gets released the day before, and Obama's exposed for the bigger hacker. Not only that, but a hacker who turns on ordinary, innocent Americans. And so Michelle gets so angry at the Chinese leaders, she refuses to meet with them. She says to them, oh, my God, you think you get away with this? Do you know who you're talking to? I'm Michelle Obama. But then again, I write fiction. So don't take my word for it. Go to ABC, CBS, NBC, or CNN for the truth. Don't listen to Michael Savage.